Here we have a Midland model 13-898B. It's a 23 channel AM and sideband CB radio with clock. It's currently, actually it is turned on right now. Back on the antenna. It actually has sound now, amongst other things. Customer sent this to me. Hadn't tried it yet. He'd done some cleaning on it because he said this thing was really nasty. Still needs a little bit of final touch cleaning up. Still dirty. It's not I mean, it is plywood, but it has a vinyl decal over like most radios do, so it's not actual wood facing up. But a little bit of the decal, I guess, is off right there, but that'd be very easy to darken in, so that'll basically disappear. The only real flaw with this thing is this one scratch right here. Otherwise, these are real wood. Those will clean up really nice. The faceplate's actually in extremely nice condition. The knobs are all nice, shiny, no dings or dents in them. I'm not sure of the condition of the clock yet, because at the moment I cannot power it up off of AC, and I'll show that why here in a minute. Currently it's running off of a 13.8 volt power supply. But it does have volume, does transmit. Did not do anything when I first tried it. I said the radio was really dirty. Well, the controls were no different. They were absolutely filthy. And the relay in it, I did not have to replace the receive transmit switching relay in this. It was basically just like the rest of it. The contacts were just oxidized, and it was so bad. Even I'd tried 100 microvolts, wouldn't do anything. I even tried dumping 1,000 microvolts into this thing, and it still wouldn't receive. That's how dirty the contacts were. They were just not passing in, not making contact. So I took the relay out, just cleaned the contacts in that, brought receive right back. Actually, the volume was then so bad you had to turn it almost up the whole way, and then, of course, it would blast you out of your seat. But so all of the controls have now been cleaned, because, like I say, they were, oh my God, filthy. Just nothing but it was just fingernails down a chalkboard type deal. But so they're all clean now and work well. I don't even know if there's anything. Skip's about completely dead here today. But in any case, let me get this cover pulled off. There's no screws in it. I've already taken them off. And he had actually cleaned the inside initially a little bit on this. And it's still going to get a little bit better light over here. Now you can see it's still a little bit dirty. Yeah, and I knew he had done some dusting in here because I found a bunch of paintbrush bristles. You kind of sticking up a little every once in a while. I'd see a paintbrush bristle sticking up. But yeah, the relay was nasty. Like I say, it was the contacts were so oxidized on it, it wasn't even making contact, so it wouldn't receive. It doesn't look to have any modifications that I can see whatsoever. I haven't gone over it completely yet, but it doesn't look like it's been modified in any way, with one exception. This resistor right here, which actually the SAM schematic right here in the SAM's manual, number 72. Actually, I can dig into this real quick. I can show it. Actually, get the light out the way now. It's in the way. Actually, this resistor right here, okay, number 357, it shows 4.7 ohms, 10 watt. Okay, and if you follow that, that comes straight off the output modulator transistors and transformer, comes through switch right there, refocus, and then comes across through this resistor, and then that's where your modulation comes for your final transistor. So what someone has done, when I get this flipped over I'll show it, what someone has done is because taped to the back of this radio was this little guy. Okay, it's just a RCA jack, but the center conductor has been shorted out. And there's 3 RCA jacks on the back of this. There's PA, external for external speaker, and a, what was the other one? Oh, the record out, like back in the day if you wanted to hook up a tape recorder. The external speaker one is not hooked up anymore. They have a wire, one wire running to this side of the resistor on the underside of the board, and the other wire running to this side of the resistor on the other side of the board. I'm assuming their idea is that, and actually, like I said, the schematic shows 4.7, I think it was. This has a 6.2, but just looking at it, I can tell that is original, so that was just a change, you know. Manufacturers, it's common for them to make all kinds of little changes in values and whatnot, you know, through the years of production. So, like I said, it's not too far off, 4.7 to 6.2. So they probably changed the value on that at some point. But I think what they were trying to do was bypass this, because the idea is with one lead hooked up here, one lead hooked up here, when you install this basically shorting plug into the RCA jack in the back, it bypasses this resistor, which is a dropping resistor. So, yeah, we'll be just cutting those two wires out, and luckily the wire for the external speaker, the wire that comes back from the phone plug and then runs back also to the external speaker jack, the wire's still right there, and I can tell it's that one because they just cut the wire off of that RCA jack. So really, that's the only modification I see. So this needs, of course, this is crystal controlled. It's crystal synthesized. Now, normally in non-sideband radios, that can be a nightmare, because if the crystals are out of spec, oh my god, you can go bankrupt, you know, buying crystals to replace crystals in a radio. The advantage of a sideband radio is you need to be able to tune each of those crystals when you do an alignment. So as you can see, every crystal in this radio has, let me get a non-conductive pointer here, every crystal has an associated ceramic trimmer cap. And yes, this back in the day when they actually used good capacitors, they didn't use the, you know, plastic ones. They actually used good ceramic trimmers. But so, like I say, you can see every crystal is adjustable. So if the crystal has drifted out of tolerance over the decades, which is very common, easily brought back in, usually within range. You just bring it back in with the adjustment of the trimmer cap there. So doesn't really look like this thing needs anything. I mean, the customer does not want the caps changed in this because it is 23 channel. He got this in a package deal with some other stuff, so he wants, you know, he's going to be getting rid of this. So if anybody's interested in this, let me know. I don't know if the clock works yet because I haven't gotten to the AC power line, which I'll get to in a second as soon as I get this flipped over. But so like I say, he's probably going to want to get rid of this. It's not going to have the cap job done, but I am going to have any repairs that need to be done, which really isn't anything. Remove the basically bypass wires off of this resistor and re-enable the external speaker jack on the back and fix the power socket, which is why it's not running off of AC right now. So like I say, the clock, I don't know if it works, but even if it doesn't work, that's not a problem. I have a parts chassis of one of these. I have the exact same radio. I've got a parts chassis. I've had it for years and years and years, and it has a working clock in it. So even if this one doesn't work, that's not a problem. We have a replacement. So, like I say, clean radio. One thing's kind of interesting in this. Get the light repositioned here so you can see it properly. And it kind of dates the radio. If you look at the 4 rectifier diodes on the AC to DC power supply right here, notice they're not round like your standard diodes would be today. See how they're kind of boxed, they're flat on the back, you know, inside, kind of like a box with a kind of a rounded over top. I just thought that, you know, nobody's ever seen them. Like I say, that kind of dates the radio age-wise. So, this does have a 2SC 1307 final. You see it back behind there or not? Yeah, you can see the 07, I think. Yeah, 2SC 1307, but it does not use a 1306 driver. Actually, this has a 2SC 1018 as a driver. So, you don't see that a lot. Usually the 1307s are paired with a 1306, but still perfectly fine. That's the way they designed this radio to work. So, but yeah, so I mean, actually, this looks like this will be a fairly straightforward. Basically, I'm going to replace the AC power jack on this, an alignment, and like I say, as long as the clock works, that's really all this is going to need. Because like I say, it does work as it sits right now. I've got receive back. So actually, let me turn the, put it on internal. So here is, oh, let's see here, volume. Here's 1 micro, and I haven't adjusted anything, so this actually has fairly decent reception considering it hasn't been aligned since probably 74 or 75 when this thing was made. But so there's AM. Go to sideband. There's a signal generator on the sideband. So there's 1 microvolt. So like I say, not bad. The receiver should definitely pick up once I get the alignment done. Power-wise, right now, it's doing dead key. And do we have here? Let's see, got that in. Oh, I guess it might help if I had it in AM. So rate about 4 watts. Audio check. Audio. Audio. Swinging to about 13. And sideband. Audio. Audio. About the same, about 13 watts. So, basically a bone stock radio, like I say, other than, and actually just for shits and grins, put it back on AM. I'm going to install this little jumper here in the back. 1, 2. Doing the blind man's thing here, feeling with my fingers. I want to stick that jumper in there. Audio. Holy sheep shit, Batman. Yeah, we definitely don't want to... I am definitely disabling that. 12 watt dead key. Audio. Audio. Swinging to 25 watt. I've got to see what that looks like on this scope. That's got to look horrible. So yes, the jumper is going to be disabled in this, and that speaker jack hooked back up, because that, no, I'm not leaving that in there. Okay, CRT's warmed up now. Audio. Actually, man, that's not looking bad. Let's get a real 1 kilohertz tone here. It's a little deformed, which actually in some of the older radios they would be slightly. Now let's try it with that jumper removed. Yeah, serious flat topping. So there's, let's go for fairly good, right about, and that's right there is 12 watts, which is what you would have with a 4 watt carrier. Perfect modulation would be 12, or 100% modulation would be 12 watts. And that's just what it's doing. So, looks like the modulation limiter's probably cranked up on this, but yeah, holy shit. We're not doing 12 watt. I'm sorry, that poor little 1307 transistor was definitely not meant to be doing 12 watts dead key and swinging 25 watts. Yeah, the swinging 25 watts isn't so bad. It's the 12 watt dead key. Definite death sentence for this poor thing. Let me get my DC power cord unplugged from this. Hook the antenna. Get it flipped over, and I'll show you why it needs an AC power socket, which, like I say, is actually the only real problem with this. I've got tape around it just so nothing would have any problems. Where the hell's the end of the tape? There it is. Yeah, it's broken out is all it is. I'm assuming the back side of the radio probably got bumped when a power cord was plugged into it at one point in time, and it just broke off the surrounding plastic on the outside there. So I have replacement for the Cybernet, this style Cybernet plug, because this has the AC/DC switch. Matter of fact, with it out, you can see it there. So that's how these work. They have that little button in the top on the inside there, if you can see that. Little finger sticks down. And that's actually how, because these radios, unlike Uniden chassis, where most of those will have a sliding switch for AC/DC, the Cybernet style radios that use Cybernet chassis always had this style of AC power socket and no AC/DC switch. The way they accomplished that was with the AC socket. So when you plug in your cord, it pushes up this contact bar here, Okay, and that disables the DC power jack and lets it run off of AC, so it directs the AC through the power supply socket through the power supply, and when the plug is disconnected, it just goes straight from this DC jack into the radio. But here's that modification someone had done, which most definitely is coming out. Like I say, they jumpered here. That's the tie point for that resistor. Here's the other wire, goes to the other side of that large 10-watt resistor. They just cut. You can even see there's still a tiny little yellow remnant of wire right there, and it is right here. They were nice enough to leave everything in here. So here's the wire. And then they disconnected, because this would have had a shared ground jumped across all three of these. They just all go to the ground trace. So all I need to do is drop that back down, solder it on, and reattach this yellow wire down here. And this will be back to a basically 100% stock radio. So there's a preview of the Midland 13898B 23-channel AM sideband crystal synthesized CB radio.